The rain fell hard over Sector 9, one of the darkest and coldest places left on Earth. It was a city of broken towers, flying drones, and glowing screens that no one looked at anymore. People walked fast. They didn't talk. They didn't care. Jacob was different. He walked slowly through the rain, wearing a thick black coat and an old cap. His boots splashed in the dirty water. He was on his way home from work. Another long day fixing broken machines in an empty factory. Life had become quiet for him. Too quiet. Then he saw her in the corner of an alley, behind a pile of metal trash. Something moved. Jacob stopped. He turned his head slowly. The shape didn't move again. Most people would walk away. Not Jacob. He walked closer. It was a girl. She looked about 16 or 17. Her body was thin, like she hadn't eaten in days. Her clothes were torn, her skin pale, and her hair was wet and dirty. But it was her eyes that stopped Jacob in his tracks. They were glowing. A soft blue light came from her eyes, not like flashlights, but like stars behind glass. She looked at Jacob, but didn't speak. She didn't even blink. She was freezing. Jacob took off his coat and gently put it over her. "You're safe now," he said, kneeling down. "Come with me, I won't hurt you." She didn't answer, but her fingers moved slightly. Slowly, carefully, Jacob picked her up. She was light, too light. Like a shadow, he carried her through the empty streets, past broken cars and silent towers. No one stopped him. No one cared. That's how Sector 9 was. Back at his apartment, Jacob placed her on the couch. The lights flickered above. The room was small, but clean. Old books lined the walls. A robot dog blinked in the corner but didn't move. He made her some warm soup. She didn't touch it, just stared at the fire. "What's your name?" "He?" asked. No answer. "Can you speak?" She looked at him. Then at the fire, then back at him. Still silent. Jacob sighed. He had seen many strange things in his time. Wars, aliens, machines that could dream, but never something like this. A homeless girl with glowing eyes and no words. He went to his desk and opened a small scanner. It was an old military tool, used during the Orion Wars. He carefully pointed it at the girl. The machine beeped. "Error. Unknown life form detected. Human match, 61%. Other, undefined." Jacob's eyes widened. "What are you?" he whispered. She looked at him. Then, for the first time, she spoke just one word. "Nova." Her voice was soft, strange, almost like music. "Nova." He repeated, "Is that your name?" She nodded once, then closed her eyes. Jacob stared at her. He didn't know what to think. A part of him said to call the authorities. Another part, a stronger part, said to protect her. He chose the second. He got a blanket, covered her, and sat nearby. The rain continued outside. Lightning flashed in the distance. For the first time in years, Jacob felt something inside him. A spark. A reason. While Nova slept, Jacob opened his computer and tried to search her face in the city database. Nothing. No match. Not even close. She didn't exist. Not in any system. He checked security feeds from the past 24 hours. No one had seen her enter Sector 9. No transports. No drones. It was like she had appeared out of nowhere. Suddenly, the lights in the apartment flickered again, but this time stronger. The computer screen flashed white. Static covered everything. And then it stopped. Jacob looked at Nova. She was awake. She stared at the ceiling, her eyes glowing even brighter now. A symbol appeared on her neck, small, round, and alien. It glowed blue for a second, then faded. Jacob froze. He knew that symbol. It was from the Zorak Alliance, an alien race that hadn't been seen near Earth for over 20 years. His heart beat faster. Who was this girl? Why was she here, and why did she look afraid? Nova slowly turned her head toward him. Her voice was barely a whisper. "They're coming." Jacob's blood ran cold. The next morning, the rain had stopped, but the air was still cold and heavy. Jacob stood near the window of his small apartment, staring out into the gray sky. He hadn't slept all night. His mind was racing with questions. Behind him, Nova sat quietly on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. Her blue eyes no longer glowed, but they still felt That's strange, like they were watching more than just the room. Jacob placed a bowl of hot food on the table and sat across from her. You didn't dream, he said softly. Nova looked up. No. Why? I don't dream anymore, she answered. Her voice was quiet but clear. Jacob studied her face. She still looked weak, but stronger than the night before. More alert, he picked up a small medical scanner and gently pointed it at her arm. I'm not going to hurt you, he said. I just want to understand. Nova didn't move. The scanner buzzed and displayed a result on the small screen. Jacob's eyes narrowed. DNA scan. Human. 60.8%. Unknown. 39.2%. Blood type. Non-human neural code. Encrypted? He muttered. You have a coded brain signal? Nova blinked. They put it there. Who? She looked down at her hands. The people who made me. Jacob's breath caught. Made you? Nova didn't reply. Her eyes focused on a single spot on the floor. Silence filled the room. Jacob leaned back in his chair. His heart was pounding again. Not from fear, from realization. She wasn't just some lost girl. She was a creation, something between human and alien, a weapon, or maybe something worse. Outside, a drone passed the window. It hovered for a second, scanning the building with a red light, then moved on. Jacob stood up quickly and shut the curtains. We can't stay here, he said. Nova looked confused. Why not? That drone was from the Central Authority, Jacob explained. They scan for outsiders, unknown DNA, and fugitives. You light up like a flare on their systems? But they didn't stop, she said. Not yet, he replied. But if they find out what you are, they'll take you away. And not to help you. Nova stared at him for a moment. Why do you care? Jacob paused. He wasn't sure how to answer. Maybe because she looked so lost. Maybe because she reminded him of his daughter, the one he lost in the war. Maybe because deep down he knew that Nova didn't ask to be what she was. I just do, he said finally. You're not safe out there, and now, neither am I. Nova stood slowly. Then we should leave. Not yet, Jacob said. He walked to a wall and opened a hidden panel behind a bookshelf. Inside was a dusty old military console. He typed fast, fingers moving like they had during his soldier days. Nova watched quietly. What are you doing? She asked. Pulling data from the old war servers, Jacob said. If someone made you, they left a trace. The screen flickered, then a document appeared. Project Helix classified status. Terminated subject code. NOV4. Type. Hybrid weapon location. Unknown risk level. EXTRE. Jacob leaned closer. NOV4. That's you. Nova didn't speak. The file continued. Subject escaped containment 3 months ago. Capable of advanced biohacking. Eyes are linked to neural scanning tech. She can learn, adapt, and absorb information at high speed. Jacob looked at her. You're not just part alien. You're part machine. Nova's voice was barely a whisper. They built me for war. But you ran away, she nodded. I didn't want to be a weapon. Jacob's eyes softened. Then, you're more human than most people I know. Suddenly the console beeped. Alert. Data breach detected. Tracking signal ACTIVET. Jacob's face went pale. They found us. Nova's hands began to shake. They're close, she said. I can feel them. Jacob moved fast. He grabbed a bag, stuffed food, tools, and a small laser pistol inside. We have 5 minutes. Maybe less, he said. Nova stood still. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be, Jacob replied. We run now or we both disappear. Asterisk. A dark ship hovered over Sector 9, invisible to human eyes. Inside, a tall creature with silver skin tapped a glowing screen. Subject NOV4 has reactivated. She is in Zone 4B, it said in a harsh voice. Another alien leaned closer. Shall we extract her? The first creature bared its sharp teeth. No, this time, we terminate. Asterisk. Jacob and Nova slipped into the underground tunnels beneath. The streets. This place is not safe anymore, Jacob said. Nova looked at him. Then where do we go? He stared ahead into the darkness. We find someone who knows more than I do. Someone from my past. Nova touched her neck, the alien symbol glowing again. They're not just coming for me, she said. Jacob turned. What do you mean? She looked up, eyes glowing bright. They're coming for Earth. The tunnels under Sector 9 were silent, dark, and cold. Water dripped from pipes above. Rats ran across broken floors. Most people feared these tunnels, but Jacob had been here before. He walked ahead, holding a small flashlight. Nova followed, quietly behind him, her eyes glowing softly in the dark. Where are we going? She asked. There's someone down here, Jacob said. A friend. If he's still alive, a soldier like you? Jacob gave a short laugh. No, smarter. He used to build weapons that could fight aliens, but now, he hides in the shadows. They reached an old steel door at the end of a narrow hallway. Jacob knocked 3 times, then paused. Then knocked once more. Nothing. Then a small red light blinked. A camera lens appeared from the wall and scanned their faces. Go away, said a robotic voice. No visitors. Jacob stepped closer. It's Jacob Crane, code name, Iron Dust. Silence. Then the door slowly opened with a loud hiss. Inside was a hidden lab, dark, dusty, filled with old tech, broken drones, and screens covered in static. In the center stood an old man with silver hair and robotic arms. He smiled when he saw Jacob. You're supposed to be dead, he said. Almost was, Jacob replied. Twice. The old man looked at Nova. Is that her? Jacob nodded. The girl from Project Helix. The man's face turned serious. Then we're all going to die. Asterisk. Far above the clouds, a massive alien ship floated silently in orbit. Long and black, shaped like a blade, inside, a team of Zorak hunters stood around a table. Their leader, a tall creature named Varnock, placed a glowing hologram in the air. It showed Nova's face. This is Subject NOV-4, Varnock growled. The experiment that escaped. She is unstable. She must be destroyed. One hunter raised his head. But she is still young. She does not remember her purpose. Exactly, Varnock said. That makes her dangerous. The screen zoomed out to show a map of Sector 9. She is hiding. With humans, launch the probes, send the hounds. No one leaves that city alive. Asterisk. Nova sat on a chair while the old man scanned her body with strange tools. She looks human, he said. But her blood, it's rewriting itself every second. What does that mean? Jacob asked. She's evolving. The scanner beeped. Wait, what is this? The screen showed a new symbol. A spiral with 3 points. The old man leaned back. This is not Zorak tech. This is something older. Nova looked up. Older? Your DNA contains ancient code, the man said. It's not just alien, it's forbidden. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Jacob drew his pistol. They found us. The old man looked at the screens. No, they didn't just find us. They're here. Asterisk. The sky split open. A black ship appeared, rising from thin air. Long cables dropped down. Alien hounds, metal beasts with glowing red eyes, crawled out and ran through the streets. People screamed. Buildings shook. Sirens echoed. A message played through every screen in Sector 9. Do not run. Subject NOV-4 is wanted. All humans. Protecting her will be removed. Jacob grabbed Nova's hand. We move, now. The old man pressed a button. A part of the wall slid open, revealing a hidden escape tunnel. Go through here, he said. It leads to the outer forest zone. They can't fly over the trees. What about you? Nova asked. The old man smiled. I'm old. Let me slow them down one last time. Jacob nodded. Thank you. As they ran into the tunnel, Nova looked back. The old man stood tall, hands glowing. Machines rising behind him. Then the door slammed shut. Asterisk. Jacob and Nova ran through the narrow path. The ground shook above them. Dust fell from the ceiling. Nova stumbled, but Jacob caught her. Almost there, he said. Nova gasped. They're calling me. Jacob stopped. What? I can hear them in my head, she whispered. The Zoraks. They know my thoughts. Jacob's face turned pale. You're connected to them. Nova looked terrified. They made me a weapon, but I don't want to be. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll break the connection. But first, we survive. Asterisk, the old man stood alone as the hounds broke in. He threw a switch, flames shot out from the walls, and machines attacked the invaders. He smiled as the lab exploded around him. Asterisk, Jacob. And Nova climbed out of a metal hatch, breathing hard. They were in a dense forest now, far from the city lights. Nova looked up at the stars. I remember something, she said. What is it? Jacob asked. I wasn't the only one. Jacob froze. What do you mean? There were others more like me in tanks sleeping. She turned to him. If they wake up, Earth will burn? Jacob stared into the dark trees. Then we stop it. Together. Asterisk, the forest was silent but not peaceful. Jacob and Nova moved. Through the tall trees, stepping over roots and muddy ground. Above them, the sky was dark. The stars were gone. Hidden by thick clouds, they had been walking for hours. Jacob's arm was bleeding from a cut he got during their escape, but he didn't stop. Not yet. Not until they were far enough from the city. Nova walked beside him. Barefoot, her eyes still glowing softly, she didn't speak. She hadn't said a word since they left the tunnel. Finally, they reached an old watchtower, broken, rusted, forgotten by time. Jacob pushed the door open and guided Nova inside. Rest. Here, he said, lighting a small fire. We're safe for now. Nova sat near the fire, watching the flames. Jacob took off his jacket and checked his arm. The cut was deep. He began cleaning it with a small cloth. Blood stained the floor. Nova looked at him. You're hurt. I've had worse, Jacob muttered. She crawled over and placed her hand near the wound. Her fingers glowed faintly. A strange warmth passed through his skin. In seconds, the bleeding stopped. Jacob stared at her. What was that? I don't know, she said softly. I've never done it before. Asterisk, the fire cracked gently. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. Inside, Jacob finally asked the question that had haunted him for days. Who are you? Nova? She looked at him, eyes distant. I told you. They made me, yes, Jacob said. But what are you? Nova was quiet for a long time. Then, slowly, she began to speak. I was born in a lab, not in a hospital, not in a home. Just a cold, white room. I don't know who my parents are, or if I ever had any. Jacob listened silently. They kept. Me in a glass tank. There were others. 5 of us. I remember faces floating in water. I remember the pain. She touched her temple. They'd put things in our heads, wires, chips, memories that didn't belong to us. Jacob leaned forward. Who were they? Zorax, she said. And humans. Together, they work side by side. Scientists in white suits. They called us the hybrids. They said we were weapons, tools for a future war. Jacob clenched. His fists, monsters. Nova nodded. One day, there was an explosion in the lab. I don't know what caused it. Fire everywhere, screams. I escaped through the tunnels. I ran for days. Then I hid in the city. That's when you found me. Jacob stared into the fire, silent. All this time he thought Nova was just a science experiment, but now he saw something else. A child stolen from the world. A girl who never had a choice. Asterisk on the Zorak ship. Commander Varnick watched the burning map of Sector 9. She's out of the city, said one of the hunters. Of course. She is, Varnick growled. She's adapting faster than expected. Should we deploy the Seekers? No, Varnick said. Let her run. Let her remember. The more she learns, the easier it will be to awaken the others. He stared at the stars. She was never meant to survive alone. The time will come when she will return to us. Willingly. Asterisk Nova stared into the fire. Sometimes I hear voices in my head. Jacob tensed. Voices? Yes, not loud, like whispers. They tell me things I shouldn't know. About machines, planets, war. Jacob sat up. Do they control you? No, she said, but they try. Jacob stood and began pacing. They put something in you, a program, a trigger. And if they use it, I'll become the weapon they built, Nova finished. Jacob stopped walking. We can't let that happen. She looked up at him. I don't want to hurt anyone. You won't, Jacob said. I'll protect you. No matter what, she smiled faintly. Why do you care so much? He sat beside her. Because I once had a daughter. Nova blinked. She was your age. Smart, brave. She died during the Orion uprising. Killed by a machine made by the same people who made you? I'm sorry, Nova whispered. Jacob looked at her. I couldn't save her, but maybe I can save you. Asterisk a strange noise filled the air. Not loud, but deep, like a hum from the earth itself. Jacob jumped to his feet. What is that? Nova closed her eyes. It's them, she said. They've activated the beacon. What beacon? She opened her hand. A tiny mark on her palm was glowing, the same spiral symbol they saw in the lab. It's not just a tracker, she said. It's a call. To who? To the others, the hybrids. They're waking up. Jacob's heart dropped. How many? Nova opened her eyes, full of fear. Thousands. The forest was no longer quiet. Birds had vanished. The wind was still, and deep under the ground, machines had started to move. Jacob and Nova stood at the top of the watchtower. The spiral mark on Nova's hand still glowed, pulsing like a heartbeat. What does it mean? Jacob asked. Nova looked at the sky. It's not just a signal, it's a key. My body is waking them up. Every hybrid created, they're all linked to me. Jacob clenched his jaw. And the Zorax know? Nova nodded slowly. They always knew. I wasn't just made to fight, I was made to lead. Jacob turned away, frustrated. Damn it, we waited too long. They'll level the planet just to get to you. A loud rumble shook the earth beneath. Then came the first scream, not human, but mechanical. Echoing from far away, Jacob grabbed his bag. We leave. Now. Jacob led Nova through a hidden path deep in the forest. Moss-covered old satellite dishes and broken signs from Earth's final wars. They reached a rusted bunker door half buried in the ground. This is it, Jacob said. My escape plan. From long ago. He entered a long code on a cracked keypad. The door opened slowly with a hiss, revealing a narrow staircase going down. Inside, the bunker was dusty, but dry. Lights flickered on as they stepped inside. Nova looked around. What is this place? Jacob smiled faintly. It was built during the last alien war, hidden, shielded, and deep below. There's a ship, Nova blinked. A ship? Jacob walked to the back wall and pressed a hidden panel. It slid open to reveal a massive metal door. It's old, but fast, he said. Meant for silent takeoff. It can get us off Earth before the Zorax arrive? Nova stepped closer. Where will we go? To a dead zone, Jacob said. A place where no one, not even the Zorax, will follow. Suddenly the ground trembled. Nova turned. They found us. The Zorak flagship hovered in orbit. Commander Varnick stood before a screen showing Nova's spiral signal. It was burning like fire across the planet. One of his hunters stepped forward. The beacon has reached the deep vaults. All remaining hybrids are waking up. Varnick nodded. And the girl? She is moving. South zone. Into the mountains. Good, Varnick growled. Prepare the scorch bomb. If she leaves Earth, we burn it. Jacob opened the ship's main doors. Dust blew out as the engines warmed up. The ship looked like a mix of human and alien tech. Patched together but deadly, Nova stepped inside, looking around in awe. It's beautiful, she whispered. Jacob took the pilot's seat. It's also dangerous. Hold on tight. The wall shook again. A loud crash echoed above. Something had landed on the surface. Jacob pressed a button. The roof began to split open, slowly revealing the sky above. Engines hot, he said. Launch in 30 seconds? But then boom. The bunker door exploded inward. Zorak hunters poured in, tall, armored, weapons raised. Nova screamed. A force pushed from her body, a shockwave of blue light. The walls cracked. The Zorax flew back, smashing into the steel. Jacob yelled, Now, Nova! She jumped into the co-pilot seat. Jacob hit the ignition. The ship rose with a roar. Smoke and fire bursting below as they shot upward into the night sky. The stars were clear now. Nova looked out the window, breathing fast. We made it. Jacob shook his head. Not yet. Suddenly, the ship's warning light turned red. Incoming strike detected. Nova looked at the radar. A massive heat signature was forming behind them. The scorch bomb, she said. They're going to destroy Earth. Jacob stared at the planet shrinking behind them. They're doing it to erase you, and anyone like you. Nova's voice trembled. I can't let that happen. She stood up, placing her hand on the ship's core. Jacob grabbed her wrist. What are you doing? I can stop the signal, she said. If I burn out the code inside me, the others will fall asleep. Again. The Zorax won't chase them. You'll die, she nodded. Only for a moment. No, Jacob said firmly. There's another way. I won't lose you too. Nova looked into his eyes. You saved me, Jacob. Let me save them. Jacob's hand shook. But he let go. Nova closed her eyes. Her body glowed brighter than ever before. Light flowed into the ship's core. The screens glitched. The radar went blank. Then silence. The heat signature vanished. The scorch bomb shut down. Jacob sat back, stunned. She did it. Nova fell to the floor, not moving. Jacob knelt beside her. Her skin was cold. Her eyes closed. Then she gasped. Her chest rose. Her eyes opened, glowing. But different, calmer. You're alive, Jacob whispered. Nova smiled weakly. I'm human now, fully. Jacob didn't understand, but it didn't matter. He hugged her. Outside the window, Earth remained whole. And the stars stretched out before them. The stars outside the ship looked calm, but inside, silence had weight. It pressed on the walls, on the air, on Jacob's chest as he stood beside Nova. She lay on a narrow bunk, wrapped in a soft thermal blanket, her face pale. Peaceful. Her glowing eyes had faded. For the first time she looked fully human. Jacob watched her breathe, slow, steady. He sat beside her, holding a hot drink in his hand, but he wasn't drinking. He was thinking about everything. About the war, the hybrids, the Zorax, and this strange, brave girl who had chosen to stop it all by nearly killing herself. She had changed the signal, blocked it, broken the connection between herself and the others. For now, the Zorax had stopped chasing them, but Jacob knew peace never lasted long in space. Nova finally opened her eyes. Jacob was still there. She smiled weakly. You didn't leave, he smiled back. You're the pilot now. Someone has to teach you. Nova sat up slowly, touching her head. It's quiet. Jacob nodded. The connection is gone? Almost. It's like the door is closed but not locked. Jacob looked at the control screen. Then we don't have much time. Nova stood, walking carefully toward the window. What happens if they open it again? Jacob joined her. They'll wake the others, start the war they planned. Earth won't survive a second time. Nova lowered her eyes. Then I have to stop them completely, far away. On the edge of the solar system, deep inside a hollow asteroid, the last vault of Project Helix waited in silence. Rows of glass tanks stood in darkness. Thousands of sleeping, hybrid children. Then one tank blinked. Its screen glowed red. Inside, a girl opened her eyes. The first of them was waking up. Jacob pressed a few buttons on the console. A map of the solar system appeared. One location blinked in yellow. What is that? Nova asked. Helix? Vault 0, Jacob said. I found it during the Orion uprising. Never told anyone? It's where they hid the first hybrids. Before the Zorax left Earth, Nova stared at it. They're still alive? Yes, Jacob said, in stasis, but now that your signal is gone, the failsafe might trigger. Nova closed her eyes. I can feel it. One of them is already awake. Jacob frowned. Can you stop her? Maybe, Nova whispered. But only if I go alone. Jacob turned sharply. No, she's like me, Nova said. If I come close, maybe she'll listen. Jacob shook his head. Or maybe she kill you. You don't know who she is. Nova stepped forward. I know what she is. A scared girl who doesn't understand why she exists, Just like I didn't. Jacob looked into her eyes. You're not alone anymore. But she is, Nova replied. Jacob's ship approached the asteroid, dark, cold, and spinning slowly in space. They landed at the outer hatch. Jacob handed Nova a small device. Signal blocker, he said. If anything happens, press it. I'll pull you out, Nova nodded. I'll be back. Jacob placed a hand on her shoulder. Be careful. She entered the vault alone. It was colder than space. Blue lights flickered overhead. The air was thick with dust and the smell of chemicals. Nova walked past rows of glass tanks, hundreds of them, each with a sleeping child. All of them like her. She reached the end of the hallway and stopped. A girl stood there, eyes glowing gold, skin marked with sharp black lines. She looked like Nova, but angrier, stronger. Who are you? The girl asked. I'm Nova, she said gently. You and I, we're the same. No, the girl replied. I'm better. Her hands sparked with red energy. They told me I would lead the new race. You ruined that. Nova stepped closer. You don't have to fight. But I want to. The girl launched forward, fast like lightning. Nova dodged, sliding under her arm. I'm not your enemy. You're weak, the girl shouted. You stopped the signal, Nova raised her hand, because I saw the truth. We're not weapons, we're lives. The girl paused. Nova lowered her hand. We can choose. Right. Now, you don't have to follow their orders. Silence. The red glow faded from the girl's body. I don't know who I am. Nova stepped closer and hugged her. You're not a weapon. You're free. Jacob stood outside the ship, watching the asteroid. The hatch opened. Nova stepped out. Holding the other girl's hand, Jacob raised an eyebrow. She didn't try to kill you? Only a little, Nova smiled. Jacob laughed. For the first time in years, as the two girls rested, Jacob checked the vault systems. He had placed the rest of the hybrids back into deeper stasis, locked safely away, with the signal fully blocked. But Nova had made a choice. She spared the girl. She showed her another way. And for the first time, Jacob believed the future might not be a war. Stars burned bright, but one star, far in the distance, blinked red. Jacob frowned. Nova, I think we're not done yet. Nova stood alone on the observation deck, her hands resting on the cold glass. Beyond it, stars stretched like frozen fire. Galaxies spun slowly, far from war, far from Earth, but her eyes weren't looking at the stars. They were fixed on one. Blinking red light, a warning. Behind her, Jacob approached, silent as always. It's a signal, she said. Not from Earth, from something older? Jacob narrowed his eyes. The Zorax? Nova shook her head. Worse, something even they were afraid of. He stepped closer. Where's it coming from? She turned to him, her face calm but serious. The edge of the system? Dead space? Jacob stared at her. Why now? Nova closed her eyes. Because I lived. The ship hovered in orbit around a dead moon. Gray, silent, forgotten, but beneath the surface, power pulsed, ancient and strong. Jacob checked the scanners. The vault's buried deep, shielded by black stone. Nova strapped on her gear. Then we go by foot. Jacob frowned. Are you sure you're ready? Nova nodded. This isn't about me anymore. Beside her stood the other hybrid girl, now called Lyra. Her golden eyes glowed calmly. She's not a weapon, Nova had told Jacob. She's a second chance. Together, the three of them entered the vault. The tunnels were carved by alien hands, smooth, curved, covered, and glowing symbols. The air was heavy, like time itself had thickened. Nova walked ahead. Led by instinct more than sight, they reached a chamber filled with silver pods. But these weren't hybrids. They were something else. Tall, thin, bones like crystal, eyes closed in silent sleep. Jacob stepped back. What are they? Zorak elders, Lyra whispered. The first ones. The true architects. Nova moved toward a central pedestal. On it sat a stone cube glowing faintly red. This is what calls to them, she said. It speaks to all creations. Jacob drew his weapon. So we destroy it, Nova shook her head. No, we rewrite it. She placed her hands on the cube. It pulsed, once, then twice, then it spoke. Nova, final key confirmed. Protocol. Unlocked? Do you wish to awaken the source? Nova stood tall. No, I wish to end the chain. Warning. End means erasure, self, others, code. Nova looked at Lyra, then at Jacob. I was made in a lab, built to fight, trained to destroy. But the woman standing here now, she was shaped by something stronger. Jacob nodded. Choice. Nova turned back to the cube. I choose peace. She pressed her palm to it. The red light flared, then dimmed. The cube melted into dust. All around them, the ancient Zorak. Forms cracked and vanished. No screams. No pain, just stillness. The chain was broken. They watched the vault collapse behind them. The moon began to crack, slow and silent. Nova stared from the cockpit. It's done. Jacob leaned back in the chair. What now? We build, Nova said. A future, Earth recovered. The Zoraks never returned. The hybrid signal stopped. Jacob returned to Earth. But not alone. Nova and Lyra helped rebuild Sector 9, not with powers but with knowledge. They healed, taught, planted life in dead places. People stared at them with fear at first, but slowly, fear became trust. A new city rose on the edge of the old world. Built by humans, led by former soldiers, protected by two women who were never meant to exist. At the heart of the city stood a tall white tower, not a weapon station, not a lab, a school. Children ran through its halls. Some were human, some were hybrid, but all were learning. Side by side. Nova stood at the top of the tower, wind in her hair, her eyes no longer glowing, but bright with purpose. Jacob joined her, holding 2 cups of hot tea. Funny, he said. I used to hate kids. Nova laughed softly. Now they're all around you? He looked at her with a smile. You've changed, she nodded. I became what they never wanted me to be. A leader? He asked. She shook her head. Human. A quiet ceremony was held under the stars. No speeches, no fireworks. Just friends, survivors. Jacob stood beside Nova in front of a small circle of people. He wore a simple black suit. She wore a soft blue dress, the first dress she had ever owned. Lyra handed them a silver band. Jacob slipped it onto Nova's hand. Nova smiled. You once asked why I care? Jacob said softly. Now you know, she nodded. Because you never saw me as a weapon. He leaned close. I saw you as a girl in the rain, and now I see the woman who saved the world. In deep space, a small satellite blinked one last time. And shut down. The war was truly over, and peace, born from a broken past, had finally begun.